Student number is 217652. And 9 weeks ago we did a skills audit, and the first question on it was I can motivate myself to work independently. And I said that I agreed because when you're in college you have to do a lot of blogs independently, which so far I've been able to do effectively. But as well, we have to do a lot of independent work such as monologues with Parvez and with Laurie May as well. And I've been able to do them quite well, so I feel like I can work independently. And as well, I can work as part of a team. I'm actually really good at working as part of a team, but leading on to the next one, I do feel like I do need to take a lot. I feel like I need to take charge a lot of the time, which is one of my downfalls because I don't like giving other people a chance to be in charge. But it is probably a good thing as well because I do like directing, and when I do get a chance to take charge, I kind of use all the time available to make it the best it can be. I'm happy to experiment with ideas and suggestions. I'm really open-minded, despite the fact that I do like taking charge. I do like taking in other people's ideas and perspectives, and I'm always happy to apply those to a scenario to make it a better performance. I can select and reject appropriate material for the performance. With this, I agreed because I can be realistic about ideas and how to achieve goals. For example, there were some things in Murder in the Old Library we did, and when we started, we wanted to use the theatre, and then we realised that obviously we couldn't because that night there was another event going on that night. So we had to be realistic and plan the performance around the conference room, which at first we didn't feel would be as good and wouldn't give as good of a performance, but then in the end it kind of worked out better because obviously in Murder in the Old Library they were in a high school and at college, and they worked a lot better. I can critically evaluate my work. I'm able to evaluate my work and set targets to improve. I am quite critical of my own work, so I feel like I can do that effectively and not kind of give myself like loads of, tell myself that I'm brilliant, because I'm not like that. I'm really realistic and set myself goals of how to improve. I can apply feedback effectively. Again, I do like getting a lot of feedback, whether it's like complimentary or developmental. I do like doing that so I can set myself new targets. I can learn a script in time for a performance. I am a visual learner, and that means I can easily remember scripts and lines ready for a performance, but in these last 9 weeks we haven't done as much script work. We've done a little bit individually, like I said, with the monologues with Parvez and Laurie May, but we've not been given a script that we've never ever seen before, which I would like to do some more of that in the future. I can project my voice appropriately for the performance space. I can definitely project my voice, but I do feel like I would like to improve this skill, especially with singing as well. Surprisingly, when I sing, I'm not as well projected depending on what I'm singing. But we've not done too much singing in the last 9 weeks, but I would like to do some more of that. I can build a character effectively. I feel like I can develop my characters quite well to portray a role, and in the last 9 weeks we've done quite a lot of that. Especially for Farm of Terror, like obviously for Farm of Terror I've done the same role for 2 years, but my character has developed quite a bit because whether it was in the space I was using or the makeup changed a little bit, because of that I decided my character needed to be a bit more developed and react in a different way. So I feel like I've developed that quite nicely, especially leading up to Farm of Terror as well with the open day. I was playing a clown, which I'm not used to playing, so I feel like I was able to take on that role quite quickly and develop kind of a background. I can use accents that are appropriate for character work. I can use a few accents, and we did do an accent workshop with Laurie May, which was American accents, and I could do that one before, but I feel like if we had more workshops like that, then obviously we would benefit quite a lot from that. And she really, really broke it down, which meant that we were able to work on projection and the actual accent as well. I can communicate intentions to an audience. I can successfully portray a scene to an audience and make sure the intended theme is known. And I feel like I can do that in directing as well, because obviously we have Murder in the Old Library, and it was really about not showing an actual scene. It was more about eavesdropping and like knowing it was a murder mystery, and getting that across would have been quite hard, but as a group I feel like we worked quite well at that. And obviously at Farm of Terror you scare people, and I feel like I did that quite well. I can stage an acting performance appropriately. I can stage an acting performance quite well as a director and actress, and although we've not done any proper shows in the last 9 weeks, other than Farm of Terror, but I wouldn't say that really counts, because it wasn't a proper performance, like staging wise. I'd say that I can do that, but I want a little bit more experience. But we will have Panto coming up, so we'll be able to do that then. I can understand how to use comedic timing effectively. I've put kind of for this because I have experience in comedic acting, but acting is like in comedy is not my strong point at all. I don't really like it because there's a lot of pressure involved, and obviously we've got Panto coming up, so I'm definitely going to learn a lot more about comedic acting, so I'm a little bit like nervous towards that, but I think it's going to be quite fun. It's going to be nice to have a different genre of acting that I can kind of use in the future. I can understand how to structure a script. I can understand how to effectively structure it and create my own, but I'm not as confident in writing one, because I have had experience writing them before, but in the last 9 weeks we've not really done too much. We've only done a little bit of script writing, but that was short 100-word monologues, and I'd really like to be able to do a big script and kind of not kind of lose track of what I'm doing. I'm confident in devising performance work. I'm very confident in devising performance work, and I feel like I do this quite well. I really do like devising and kind of making my own scenes, and I feel like that will show in Panto if we all get the roles that we want, because a lot of that is improvised, and I'm quite looking forward to that. I'm confident in directing scripted work. I've not really done a lot of this in the last 9 weeks. There was one example where we were given someone else's monologue and we had to help them direct it. So we did a little bit of that, but I'd really like to do more of that, especially in small groups, because I feel like that will benefit both me and the other person from getting student feedback. I can create work that is appropriate for a range of audiences. And with this, I put agree. And I always try to make my work appropriate for more than one audience. For example, in Farm of Terror, I tried to make sure that the people around me didn't swear a lot. And that's because, obviously, there's quite a few children and young people that go around. And as well, in Murder in the Old Library, again, I tried to make sure they didn't swear a lot, or at all, if necessary. And the themes weren't inappropriate for young people, because there's going to be a lot of different audiences coming up to see shows, and they don't need to be hearing things that they don't, they shouldn't, that's not appropriate for that age, really. I can effectively warm up my vocal cords. I can, if someone else is leading a vocal warm-up, do their vocal warm-up, but in my free time I can do my own, and that's because, obviously, I've been to a college before, a different college, and every day we started with a different vocal warm-up, and because of that I've learned a range of different activities I can do to warm up my vocal cords. I understand what my vocal range is. I know what voice type I am, which is an alto, but I'd really like to learn what my range is, but we've not done a lot of singing recently, but I feel like that would benefit me in the future if we did some more of that. because definitely for auditions for universities and things like that, they really need to know what your vocal range is, because that will determine what character's example you'll get. I can effectively harmonise within group numbers. I have done a little bit of harmonising in the past. Like, I've done a lot of singing workshops in my old college, and I feel I've been told I can do it quite well. But again, I would like to do a lot more of that, especially for panto as well, because we're going to be doing a lot of singing in panto, and I really want to get to grips with singing again because I've not done it in quite a while. I'm confident in singing solo. For this, I did put agree at first, because at the time I'd come out of college where we were always singing, but then obviously here we don't do it as much, so I feel like I wouldn't be as confident right now. If we started doing it a bit more, then I'd kind of get used to my surroundings, get used to people hearing me sing, but for the minute I'd probably say disagree to kind of. Hopefully in the next few days we should be doing a bit more singing, but for now I'm not really too sure if I'd be confident singing on my own. But I am definitely confident singing with an ensemble, and that's because the attention isn't all on me. But I would definitely like more opportunities to do so. We might be doing a little bit for the Christmas light switch on as well, which I really hope I get a chance to do that, because that would be really fun. I can use my voice to create an atmospheric effect. I can do this to change the mood of a scene, and I feel like definitely for Farm of Terror, and then for, say, with panto stuff we've been doing, I know when to, like, what different voices can kind of create an effect. For example, in panto, it needs to be really out there and big and adventurous, whereas in Farm of Terror, my character is more about physicality as opposed to vocals. So when I do speak, it's very it creates quite a big atmosphere really when I do speak. I can effectively warm up my body and understand the importance in doing so. I am definitely able to carry out a physical warm-up to avoid strain or injury on my body, and I can follow other people's warm-ups. I'm confident in leading a physical warm-up. Yeah, I'm very confident in leading physical warm-up, and that's because I do it quite a lot at dance anyway, and I'm able to follow one and pick up one up quite quickly. I can follow choreography instructions correctly. I do find this quite easy, and I can pick it up quite simple. In the last 9 weeks, however, we have been doing quite a fast choreography dance, and at first I was really like, oh my god, I don't get it at all because it was so fast. But once you break it down a little bit, you can really understand it, and you find it quite simple. So I think it's more of a case of breaking it down and understanding it. I'm confident in dancing solo. I am actually very confident in dancing solo, and I do enjoy it quite a lot. I would just like more of an opportunity to do it. We've had a few little opportunities in the devolution dance we did, but they're only a small section that we choreographed ourselves. Where is it? There we go. I'm confident in dancing as a group. I do really like dancing in a routine as a group, and we've done a lot of that these last few weeks. We've done a lot of dancing these last few weeks, especially with the devolution dance, and we did a little bit on Fosse as well. And I really do enjoy learning a routine in a group. The next one is I can choreograph a dance. I can choreograph one, but I do like having a little bit of guidance from other people, especially tutors and whatnot. I recently choreographed a dance for the new curriculum day, and we didn't have very much time to do that, but we successfully did that in the time given. I think it was around 3 days, and we only had a little bit of help from the tutors, because obviously they were really busy. And I was quite proud of that, but I would like more opportunities to do this in the future. I can interpret the themes and meaning of the dance. I can do this quite easily, and I think it's because obviously being a dancer, it kind of, when you dance you create a story, So when I watch one, I can easily kind of understand the story because I know one is there and I'm looking out for it. The next one is I can plan lighting for a performance. In this, I can do it like in my head, and I know exactly what I want for a performance and how to create it for a mood. But if you put me up there in the box, I would have no idea like what buttons to press or anything. So I would really like in the next few weeks, especially leading up to panto and directors, to be taught how to use lighting and sound appropriately to create an atmosphere in a performance. I can identify the risks involved with putting on a performance. In Farm Terror, we did have to create a risk assessment, and with that there was a lot to put in it. For example, obviously it's on a farm, so it's quite rocky ground, so there's no running or anything like that, and there'd be a lot of loose wires that you can fall over. So there is a lot of risks put in that, and especially with directing Murder in the Old Library, there was a lot of risks involved in that as well. And I feel like over these last 9 weeks, we've been able to kind of identify the risks a lot easier. I understand how to rig lights for performance purposes. I don't know how to rig lights. Like, I know the general, like if I watch someone do it, I feel like I could pick it up quite easily. But we've not really had too much chance to do that, and I would really like to learn how to do it in the future, especially going into the theatre industry. You need to be a jack of all trades, so you need to know as many skills as possible. So lighting is something I'd really like to take part in. I understand the technical possibilities of supporting a performance. I would obviously understand that you'd have to take into account spacing and lights and music, and I would really like to get more chance to do this, especially in time for directors. I can design a stage makeup look. I do have a lot of experience with stage makeup, and I do really, really enjoy doing it. I do a lot of it in my free time, and in past performances I've always made sure I've got stage makeup on and other people do. And for example, at Farm of Terror, there was one night when my makeup artist didn't turn up because she was in a lot of traffic, so I had to do my own makeup based on the way I know they did it. So I'm able to do that quite well. I can confidently prepare a face for the application of makeup. I can do this obviously because I've been able to luckily have an experience with stage makeup, and I know the preparation process. And I can confidently apply and remove stage makeup following a brief. I can do this depending on what type of makeup it is. Whether it's just normal based stage makeup, obviously you would remove that with face makeup remover and eye makeup remover and whatnot. And then whether it was really, really difficult makeup, for example, if you had latex and whatnot on, then you'd remove that with like spirit gum remover and a lot of cleanser that we had to use at Farm Terror, and that's a lot more difficult to take off, but I would be able to do that in the future.